and we've
But their opener against Green Bay easily could have gone the other way. They could have won that game against Green Bay. That could have been a huge victory for them. And yesterday, okay, they ran into a buzzsaw going out across the country after a letdown loss in their home opener. This is a better team than you think. I mean, I would be worried about if I was Baltimore, I'd be worried about Jacksonville because they're loaded with talent. Now they haven't won games, but they're going to start to at some point in time. Eventually, they're going to turn this around. They've got offensive players, and they can score a lot of points. And I think that the defense, by the second half of the season, you'll see the kind of defense they put together. It's going to just take them, a good half a season to really get it together.
In the case of the Ravens, at 2-0, nothing impressive. I mean, it's hard to be impressive when you're beating the Bills and the Browns. And I said, those two teams combined might win 6 games this year, and they might not win 6 games. I'm not sure that Cleveland's going to win any games, and certainly Buffalo. Just to back up on them a minute, when I saw that the Pagulas are visiting the locker room right now, the husband and the wife, to talk to football players, boy, that is some disconcerting information if you're a Bills fan, I think.
Yeah, it's way too much interference. And I get the idea that, they just paid $1.4 billion 2 years ago to buy this team, and they want to take it out on a nice test drive. But you have to understand that there's a line of demarcation between you being the owner, having to make difficult decisions, about who your coaches are, your general manager, who runs your organization. But there's that line between that group, what you do, and the players. And you have to be very careful not to cross that line too much. And they've already crossed it too much because essentially the players now think, I can just go straight to the owners. And if I don't like the coaches, if I don't like what's happening, I can go straight to them and I can get my coaches fired. And I'll get the organization run the way I want it to be run. And that's really, really, really dangerous.
Well, and I think in any sport, right, and guys like you and me that have been around this for a period of time, you would think when they're having cocktails with Jerry Jones and some of the other people up there, and a guy like Dan Snyder who used to do this all the time, and we've had a meddling baseball owner here, which is why our stadium's empty during the biggest, because it's just, it feels like, well, you paid $1 billion for it. It's mine, and I'm going to run it. But then you go in there and you sort of deball Rex Ryan in week 2. I don't think that's going to have a happy ending up there, and I think Rex has been around the block a couple of times that this probably isn't going to end well.
No, it's probably not going to end well for anybody involved because even the owners, while they're still going to be rich at the end of all this, they're not going to have the kind of result that they want to have. They want to compete, and I respect that. I respect the fact that they want to be involved so that they can get the team turned around. They're not doing this just to make more money. I get that. But this is not going to end with them being a more competitive team on the field. You have to watch how, Steve Bisciotti, the Maras, the Rooneys, the teams that are really well run, even the way the Crafts do it up in New England, is a very clear line between them and the locker room and the players. And they just got, they have to learn those lessons the hard way, basically.
Well, the owners came in and fired the offensive coordinator on Friday, right? I mean, literally, that's what happened, right?
Yeah, they came in and they fired him. Either that or they forced him to be fired. I mean, Rex can sell it any way he wants. I mean, the one thing that's good for Rex at this point in time is Rex is letting them do it the way they want to do it, which will protect Rex for a period of time. How long will that be? It could be very short, or it could be long. I mean, Jason Garrett has survived an awful long time in Dallas, basically letting Jerry Jones do what he wants to do. So you can make it work and survive. The question is, are you going to thrive? Are you actually going to win any games? Are you going to win championships?
He is Jason Cole, longtime NFL writer. You can follow his journey out at Bleacher Report. He has a wonderful picture of a Space Needle and some sort of beat Cal Stanford thing going on. The last time I brought it up, it almost ended our friendship. Jason Cole BR is the way to follow him out on Twitter. Speaking of things that end friendships, I got some friendships in Cleveland, but when I looked up and it was 20-0, and it was only 20-0, long enough for the extra point to get kicked in return. But when you started to see 20-0 and 20-2 on Sunday, I guess you started to think, well, what the hell's going on with the Ravens there and these mistakes? And then they come out and outscore them 25-0 the rest of the way. That's a really bad football team with the Browns, and we saw that. But, boy, that Coleman kid's going to be a player, and they have some things going on there. Again, another coach that I don't know how long you will survive to live long enough to see that, Coleman becomes a Pro Bowl wide receiver, to have a quarterback that can actually throw him the football.
Well, I hope so. I hope Hughes survives. Look, he's allowing that organization to run things the way they want to for right now. And in a sense, it's similar to Buffalo with less day-to-day interference from Jimmy Haslam. But Jimmy Haslam's come up with this idea, in a sense, of trying to run Moneyball and bringing in Paul DePodesta and bringing in Sachi Brown with no football background to run the football ops. And I think Hugh Jackson's sitting there going, okay, how long do I have to let this play out before you do it my way? And that will be the big question. Will they eventually give him his way? Will they realize you have to do football this way? Or will Jimmy Haslam do what he's done several times already since buying that team, blow it up again and again and again? And so I hope that Hugh survives, because I like Hugh Jackson, and I think he's got some really terrific ideas, and I think he knows how to lead. But the question is, what does the owner want to do? How does he want to drive the new toy? Because it's still, in a sense, a new toy for him, and he keeps driving it all over the road. At a certain point, do you wonder, is he going to learn how to drive it just straight?
Well, then you had the Bengals and the Steelers getting together in the muck over in Pittsburgh. It's certainly no crime for the Bengals to lose to the Steelers, but a really important game. Later in the year, that one will be important, and the Bengals were in it for a little while. But this timeless, ageless running back that Mike Tomlin has found in D'Angelo Williams, just kind of incredible what's going on there. Are you buying into the Steelers being a power team in the AFC yet?
Well, I thought they were a power team last year. I thought they were one play away. If they just catch a pass from, if they intercept a pass from Peyton Manning on 2nd and 10 in the fourth quarter of that game, they're going to New England, where I think they probably win last year, especially if they've got Antonio Brown back. And I think that they could have been the Super Bowl champions quite easily last year, if not for just dropping an interception pass, an interception in the fourth quarter. So, I like this team. Now there's some things that make me concerned. Obviously, not having Martavis Bryant, how talented he is, that makes me concerned. But they've replaced him adequately for now. They found this Eli Rogers kid. Brown is still Brown. He's just an amazing player. You talk about D'Angelo Williams, who's been able to step in for Le'Veon Bell. I just always worry about teams where your star players, like guys like Bryant and Le'Veon Bell, when they decide that drugs are more important than playing football. Not that I have a big problem with guys doing marijuana. I really don't. But it's, if you let it get in the way of your career, then you're making a statement not only to yourself, but to the rest of your team about what you think is the priority, and that football is not the priority. So that's the thing that I worry about most with that.
Do you think
I like them, but I've got some concerns about them long term.
Do you think Cincinnati is bad at running the football, or do you think Pittsburgh just had a hell of a day on Sunday? Because the one thing you look up and see is Cincinnati didn't run, and it was a close enough game that they certainly, if they could have put that part of their game together. Are you worried about the Bengals?
A little bit, but not overly. I still think their offensive line's terrific. Look, Pittsburgh has some pretty good front seven players. Shazer and Hayward and some of the guys that they put up there, those guys are stout. I thought that, look, the way that people are going to attack Pittsburgh right now, they're going to test them in that secondary, because that secondary is not good, but there may be a little bit better than we all think. So that's the interesting part here to me for, the Steelers and for the Bengals is, okay, I get it. You wanted to go after him. You wanted to throw the ball. Did you get out of your game? Because your game is still run-based operation. It's still based on, hey, get Hill going, get Bernard going, get something set up there so that you can throw the ball with Dalton. It looks like in their first year with a new offensive coordinator that they've sort of inverted it at this point in time and trying to pass first And partly because, look, that's how they won the game against the Jets in the opening week. And it's really easy to fall into that trap of falling in love with throwing it too much.
He is Jason Cole, Jason Cole BR at Bleacher Report. You can follow him on Twitter as well, and many do. And we're kind of recapping week 2, looking at week 3 a little bit, and trying to find some surprises here, or sort of stories that step out down the highway here. I was with a Redskin fan, a friend of mine. I don't admit that often. Earlier today, lamenting this 0-2 start for the Redskins. Certainly the blooms off the burgundy and gold rose there, and losing to the Cowboys and a backup quarterback at home does not bode well for the Redskins this year.
No, this was a problematic loss for them. No question about it. Dak Prescott may be better than we all think, but you still got to beat him. In a second start on the road, you should win that game. And I know there's concerns about what is Kirk Cousins doing. Maybe he's thinking too much at this point in time, putting too much on his plate as he tries to earn that big long-term contract. But ultimately, I just have to think that the Redskins have too much offensive talent not to score a lot of points this year. And if you score a lot of points, and especially in this division this year, I think you're going to be okay. I really do. And I know they're off to an 0-2 start. People are going to start to panic a little bit. But I still like that Redskins team. I really do. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I still like them in that division. And I don't think anybody in that division is going to run away and hide. The Giants are 2-0, but they've done it by the skin of their teeth, and they've won 2 games by a total of 4 points.
But that's a surprising 2-0 for them. I mean, that's a real nice little cushion, much like the Ravens. So you win ugly and you win against bad teams. That's fine, but you're 2-0, and that's the best you can be at this point. And from a Giants fan perspective, and where the Ravens were last year, I would be feeling good that they're building something there in the Meadowlands.
Oh yeah, look, they're going the right direction, but I don't necessarily trust that it's all going great. I mean, they haven't scored a lot of points, and you would have thought that the Giants, if they were 2-0, they had been scoring 28 to 35 points in each of those 2 games. They've not done that. Now you can take that as a good thing that maybe their defense has come along a lot faster, a lot farther than we all anticipated. That's the good news. But you still look at that and say, that should be an offense-based team right now. That should be a team that can throw it around, and they're not. And you just wonder how long is that going to hold up before the defense gets exposed a little bit more than it has. So maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe the Giants are going to, all of a sudden be a whole lot better than they were on defense last year, that Vernon and Janoris Jenkins and the other guys that they added are going to make a huge difference. I just don't believe that. I think that they're ultimately going to have to be a better scoring team. But you talk about 2-0 at this point in the season, and I try not to make a big deal out of 2-0 at this point in time, especially in these years of parity. But the New England Patriots, that's huge for them to be 2-0, even with Garoppolo hurt again and maybe missing this week and the next week. Look, they already got the 2 wins that they needed to get out of those first 4 to wait until Daddy's back in week 5. And they get Daddy back. Everything's good. They're going to roll to that division title. So that was a huge 2-0 start for the New England Patriots.
It looks like nobody's coming to catch them either. I mean, certainly the Bills and the Dolphins look to be not factors at all, and you can make your own mind up about the Jets at some point, but I don't know that the Jets are capable of winning 11 games either.
No. I mean, the Patriots are going to win 11, 12, maybe 13 games this year. The only thing that's going to hold them up is they're probably going to lose the next 2 because, trying to get through 2 games with Brissett is going to be hard. This guy.
I had to Google him. When I saw it, I'm like, who the hell is he? I got to Google him,
Well, I know Jacoby Brissett a little bit because he was a star athlete in the state of Florida where I live. And he played at the University of Florida for a year. And he's very highly regarded by some smart football people. Charlie Weiss really liked this kid. And, so he's got a little bit of pedigree here. I mean, this is a fantastic athlete with a lot of people in his corner.
Well, there's a lot of guys who sat there with a clipboard in New England that if you passed the Belichick sniff test to be the number 3 quarterback, he sees something in you, right?
Yeah. No, look, Belichick's no dummy. He's not taking a guy in the 3rd round who he doesn't think has some ability to play. All that said, look, he's 2 games into this. I mean, he's pretty wet behind the ears still at this point in time. So for them to go into the game on Thursday night at home against Houston, against a quality opponent, and expect to win on short notice, I think it's going to be tough. And then even Buffalo the following week, I know it's at home. That's probably a 50-50 game. I mean, they probably have about a 1 in 4 chance of beating Houston, in this game on Thursday night. They probably have a closer to 50-50 chance. So if they can pull out one of those two, get to 3-1, they're really rolling. If they lose them both, I still think they're fine. Because one thing about the Patriots, the first month doesn't matter. In three out of their 4 title-winning seasons, Super Bowl title-winning seasons, they started 2-2 or worse in 3 out of those 4 seasons. So they get the 2 wins right now, they're fine.
Well, Patriots are perfect. Broncos perfect. I mean, not to say I'm not shocked by that. I know some people thought the sky was falling there. Steelers are still on it. Here come the Ravens. But the Houston Texans at 2-0 right now, that's as good as you could hope for. You talk about, Belichick and the apple not falling. O'Brien's done a nice job down there. They've got a quarterback. They're in a division that looks very, very winnable, especially with the Colts starting off at 0-2. The Houston Texans are now a factor, and Thursday night's going to mean a lot to go on the road for them up to New England and play the number 3 quarterback now with an opportunity to go to 3-0.
Oh, that's an absolutely huge game for the Texans. Absolutely stunningly huge game for them on Thursday to play that team, and and the opportunity that they have. I mean, I think a lot of us a month ago were thinking, "Hey, J.J. Watt's not going to make it back for this game. This could be a Patriots victory over Houston," and mark this one down as another one that they have a chance to win. Now, all of a sudden, the game flips a little bit. Houston's got to take advantage of that opportunity. Because I will say this, Houston, in that division that they're in, we talked about Jacksonville earlier in this one, Indianapolis off to a slow start, Tennessee not really wowing anybody so far, particularly on offense. I thought that was going to be a much more balanced division as of today. And, where we sit today, you think Houston has a chance to run away and hide in that division. And if they can run away enough, you're talking about a team that could get home field advantage. And in that scenario, having a head-to-head win over the Patriots, who I think are going to run away and hide in the East, it could be really, really critical come January. So this game, as much as it's short week 3.
And these games always suck. These Thursday night games are always horrible.
Thursday nights, but it's a game where if I'm Bill O'Brien, I'm saying, guys, we have to be as prepared as we possibly can because I don't want to look too far down the road, and I teach you guys not to look too far down the road. But let's be serious. We win this division. The Patriots win their division. We want to have that victory over them come January. This is the only time I'm going to talk about January. But think about it for a second. Get yourself hyped and get yourself ready because we absolutely have to win this game.
Jason Cole from Bleacher Report. You can follow him at Jason Cole BR on Twitter. Last thing for you over in the other side, the other bracket. Cardinals, Seahawks, Packers, Panthers. We like all those teams. They'll have a loss. The Minnesota Vikings, that's a rich story now, isn't it? And it played out on Sunday night, and obviously the Adrian Peterson thing was hideous. But that's a good story, and I think anybody that's come in contact with Zimmer, like Zimmer and that organization, and Bradford bouncing around the way he has and that contusion on his left hand early in the game, that this is as good a story as there is in the NFL, the Minnesota Vikings right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 2 really good people. Mike Zimmer in particular, because he's been there the longest. A really good dude. And when good things happen to a good person like Mike Zimmer, it kind of makes you feel happy about how this process works. Same thing's true of Sam Bradford. Showed up there 2 weeks ago. Good guy who's struggled for a long time in this league after being the number 1 overall pick. And a lot of people thought he was just done and a bust basically. I think there's a lot more to Sam Bradford than we've seen. Obviously, some of it is his fault. Some of it is the team structure. A lot of it is injury that has held him back.
But he's also never really had good football players around him either.
Right, and he loses Adrian Peterson in this game and still manages to figure out a way to win that game. So it's like it makes you happy. But you think about it. I know you'll love this line because we've talked about it before. You lose your quarterback before the season starts. You lose your Hall of Fame running back in the middle of the second game. You should be dancing on the edge of chaos. and they're not. They're 2-0, and they've made it through this one.
Jason, always a pleasure, man. I love the season, and it's a lot of fun week to week. It's a lot more fun when you're 2-0, and especially when your baseball team has a chance to make the playoffs too. So we're dancing on the ceiling here in Baltimore, and we know if we win enough, you'll come and visit and talk to Harbaugh about dancing on the edge of chaos.
Absolutely. I absolutely will talk to Harbaugh about dancing on the edge of chaos, dancing on the ceiling, and being easy like Sunday morning with a Peyton Manning.
I used to like that song, right? I mean, aren't they killing that song?
I have never liked that song, but it makes me laugh now.
Well, you got to love Lionel Richie. I mean, what kind of American are you, Jason Cole?
I kind of like Lionel Richie with the Commodores, but easy like Sunday morning doesn't really work for me.
All right. He's a brick house. He is Jason Cole, BR, out on Twitter. Hey, man, always great having you on. We'll check in again soon. We'll see you down the line.
All right, be good, Nestor. Thanks.
One of our all-time favorite dudes, Jason Cole, BR, out on Twitter and at Bleacher Report. Following the National Football League, you can follow him. Tens of thousands do. And you can find us out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. Eric Weddle on Tuesday night at Adams Jeep in Aberdeen. Good stuff there. Next Wednesday, Alex Lewis and Ryan Jensen will join us at Greenmount Station in Carroll County, Hampstead. Our new rookie left guard starter, as well as Ryan Jensen, who's been around for a long time. Good dude. We're going to have a lot of fun, great conversation, some crab cakes, all for the Bone Marrow Registry. That's next Wednesday, the 28th at Greenmount Station in Hampstead, Carroll County. Morning newspaper arrives at your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning. That is powered up by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. And last but never least, our breaking news happens first on the WNST Tech Service. That's powered up by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Dennis will be here on Thursday driving you home. I'm Nestor. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on Facebook Live as well as YouTube and our WNST TV channel. Hey, the Ravens are 2-0 and the Orioles might make the playoffs. We're going to find out this week. Luke's at the ballpark all week long, and we're on the backfield of Owings Mills getting ready for a trip to Jacksonville this week. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.